One last point before we move on to one other thing that we alluded to earlier, and I want to unpack the final moment that really sealed it for the Saints in a bad way. I thought of you last night as we were seeing Derek Carr constantly acting upset and constantly being frustrated. It reminded me of when Costanza was convinced that if you act pissed off all the time at work, they'll think you're busy. and they also thought he was mentally ill. But they act upset all the time, and they'll think you're working really hard and you're really busy. But it was just bizarre. And if I was a Saints fan, I'd just be so disheartened by the state of the franchise right now and by the fact that they've put their trust in a guy that the Raiders fired after one season with a new regime. So, but we showed the Foster Moreau moment at the back of the. Go ahead.
Mike,
go ahead.
I just want to give you one quiz, okay, right now. And this probably, here we are almost 40 minutes into the show of burying Derek Carr. Okay, but I just want to give you one quiz and see if you can get this. All right?
Got it.
Since the start of the 2022 season, of all players who've thrown the ball 500 times or more since the start of 2022. So in other words, fairly regular starting quarterbacks, 500 attempts in the last, 23, 24 games. Okay, 500 attempts. Derek Carr is 17th out of 19 qualifiers in passer rating. Who are the only two quarterbacks below him?
Since the start of the 2022 season, I would say, They're
both AFC. That's my clue.
Okay. Kenny Pickett would be one. Would Kenny Pickett be one?
That's
on
correct.
The right track?
The next one's easy.
And
Come on.
The next one's easy. Now, see, it's making it. I'm freaking out because it's supposed to be easy. Is it Jimmy Garoppolo?
No. He doesn't have 500 attempts.
Who is it? Who's the other one? Who'd I miss that's hiding in plain sight?
Mac Jones.
Michael McCorkle Jones. God, yes. My bad. My bad. See,
again,
I'm not going to blame you. It's my fault. It's your fault because you asked me a bad question. We got some issues here, Peter, that we're going to have to work out after the show. This is your fault.
No, listen. You wouldn't say we got to work these out. You would just go to break, and what you would do before break is rip the crap out of me without giving me a chance to respond.
I said to somebody last night, why is it that every time something goes bad, Derek Carr does the Bobby Knight game face? Remember when they asked Bobby Knight, "What's your game face?" What do you mean game face? And he's doing all that stuff. Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh, Foster Moreau at the back of the end. The one time that Carr didn't lose his mind, which is amazing to me. The guy drops the touchdown pass, and Carr's just kind of flatlined. But Moreau, let's show that again before we hear from Foster Moreau on the drop, because I felt bad for the kid. He's been through so much, fought cancer and won.
Yeah.
Saints stuck by him. And look, stuff happens. And I don't know, maybe if Four had zipped it in there a little bit better instead of trying to put a little air under it, I don't know. But it needed to make it to him. And stuff happens. It's okay. We all make mistakes. I felt bad for the kid. He was devastated. Here he is after the game talking about the drop that would have put the Saints within one with a chance to either tie or maybe go for two and walk off as the winners. Here he is.
Yeah, it's tough. It's, in front of every man, woman, and child I've ever known. It's a dark place to be. It's the National Football League. It doesn't come down to one play, but it comes down to one play. The team fought. The team fought as hard as we did, and it's just unacceptable. It's just pathetic.
Yeah, tough spot, raw moment, And it happens. It happens. And he's right. It doesn't come down to one play, but it does come down to one play. There's a lot of other reasons why the Saints didn't win the game, but that was the opportunity. And they still had one more crack at the end zone, and Carr threw a very bad pass. I don't know what he was thinking with your one final shot at the end zone. It didn't even have a chance. But that one had a chance. That one could have been caught, and that one, arguably should have been caught, and it happens. You factor that in to any team, any game, things like that can occur. It's not like he tried to drop it. It's not like he said, hey, this is my chance to blow the game. And it's just a shame that it happened. I feel bad for him. He's come such a long way, and I feel bad for what happened to him in that moment.
He's absolutely right. After a game, when players say, hey, it never comes down to one play, well, of course it doesn't. There's 168 plays on average in a game, so it doesn't come down to one play. But the fact is, when there's 29 seconds to go, and you have a ball that touches both of your hands, and you're wide open in the end zone, and you don't catch it, it's hard to think that play didn't significantly cost his team a chance to win the game. And look, it's a football game. We'll all get over it. Everybody will get over it. And really, Foster Moreau has already this year won at the game of life in overcoming a scary battle with an insidious disease. So I don't think there's anybody out there who is saying, oh, you bum. And plus, he stood up. He addressed it after being clearly devastated about it. So there's absolutely no brickbats to throw at this guy. I can't think of anything negative to say other than, if you're watching at home and seeing that, and again, I'm going to overstate this, but that seems to be, if you're a parent, that is the way you want your child to grow up. You want your child to be accountable. You want your child to admit when he or she is wrong. And you also want your child to pour everything he or she has into a profession, whatever profession it is. And when you have a very bad day, you should feel it. You shouldn't just slough it off and just say, we'll get him next time. I honestly think that's why a lot of fans in Denver last year got so ticked off at Russell Wilson. It could be the worst game of the year, horrible outcome, terrible end. And Russell Wilson says, we're going to get him tomorrow. I'm going to be here at 5:30 in the morning, and we're going to start working on the next one, and we're going to do this. I mean, part of that is wonderful and all that, but, it's just like he's never wounded by a game. And this is your profession. And so, look, it takes all kinds. I'm not in here to trash Russell Wilson. I don't mean that. But I am saying that I really appreciate what I saw and heard out of Foster Moreau last night.
Well, and I think what you're speaking to, Peter, is something that I'm always very sensitive to, because we all appreciate authenticity. We appreciate people who are genuine. We appreciate people who are real. And as a result of that, we are constantly on the lookout for fugazi. Carr, fugazi. Russ at times, a little fugazi. A little too much. I am acting the way that I think I should act in this moment, not the way I truly feel, not the person I truly am. I am putting on a show for the cameras and the microphones, and I'm saying the things that I think I should say. I am doing the things I think I should do, instead of just sharing with you how I feel in this moment, who I am as a human being. I had a bad day. We all have bad days. You're going to witness my bad day, and you're going to see me try to overcome it, and maybe that helps you when you're having a bad day. That's so much better than trying to play this role of a guy that you think you should be in moments like that instead of the guy you are. I want to say one last thing about Foster Moreau, because I was impressed by something I saw from him after one of those moments when Carr was doing his Bobby Knight game faces. They're on the sideline, and it was Carr, Alvin Kamara, Foster Moreau, and one other player, and I'm not sure who it was because Moreau was in the way. But when you watch the interaction, Moreau was the one who was leading. Moreau was the one who was bridging the gaps and telling people this is how we need to do it. And like he'd motion to Carr, you need to do this. And Kamara, you need to do that. There's a maturity to Moreau that team desperately needs. And maybe that's why at the end of the day, Carr didn't have a face to make when Moreau made that drop, because Moreau may be the glue that's holding that offense together. And it's getting harder and harder to hold it together. But that moment from the sideline, Peter, I don't know if you noticed it, but you could just tell by the body language. Yeah. Moreau was the guy who was trying to bring Carr and that pissy attitude that he showed all night long together with the guys who were on the wrong end of it. And let's just work this toward what we're trying to do tonight, which is score at least one more point than the Jaguars. So I think Moreau is a key quiet. He doesn't have to come out and prove to anyone what he's doing. He's quietly, just my assessment, quietly serving as a leader, a friend, a brother to the guys in the locker room. And I think he knows how to do it the right way. And Derek Carr would be very wise to seek him out for a heart-to-heart today and say, help me be the leader I need to be for this team, because I know something's off. Help me be what I need to be to turn this team around. I don't know that he would do it, but it would be smart for him to do it, Peter.
Maybe that's why at the end of the game, everybody stood up for Foster Moreau in that locker room. There was no grumbling. And after the play, everybody came up to him on the sidelines. And Alvin Kamara was commiserating with him. And everybody, you saw it. And I just think at times, there are times, and look, you know what's interesting, Mike? The other day in my column, I name a GOAT of the week every week, and or two. You know, GOAT not meaning greatest of all time. I mean a guy who blew the game. And the other day, I named Jake Moody GOAT of the week. I mean, you know, come on. You got a 41-yard field goal. If you are a kicker, especially a kicker, drafted 99th overall, drafted in the third round, and I realize some rookies have tough times early. We're seeing it with the New England kicker after letting Mr. Perfect, Nick Folk, go, which is turning out to be an awful decision by Bill Belichick in a string of awful decisions. But you see that Jake Moody, I mean, he should have made that. And I got 8, 10, 12 letters from people. Geez, the kid's a rookie. You're killing him after missing one kick as a rookie. And I, look, I don't know whether I'm going to answer a question about this in my column or not. But what I would say is, dude, you're in the NFL. You're getting paid now. This is, and let's forget the NIL stuff and however much money they're getting paid in college football. But this is your profession. A game is on the line that may mean home field in the playoffs. The game very well may mean home field in the playoffs. Whether you beat Cleveland, on a Sunday in October when you play like crap and it's there for you to win at the end and you don't win because your kicker misses a 41-yard field goal. It's your fault. You did it. You missed it. You got to make that kick. And so, if you're going to celebrate people, if they make a bunch of long kicks in a game, I do think you got to be willing to criticize them if they miss a kick that a kid playing Division II could make 8 out of 10. So anyway, that's how I feel. But Foster Moreau, it just seemed different because of the devastation involved and because of his recent history. And it doesn't absolve him of the blame for not catching that ball. But I do believe in this particular case, they're sincerely extenuating circumstances.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.